Hi, my name is Chelsea Lehman, and I'm going to be talking about mobility provisioning and accountability, or as I like to call it, getting out of the equipment business by offloading direct and indirect costs to the IT department and allowing for quick adaptation to ever-changing technological advancements. Prologis' current mobility policy, called COPE, or Corporate-Owned and Personally Enabled, centers on corporate liable devices that have been enabled for personal use. Based on the employee handbook, devices are to be given to assist in job-related activities, and all others are enabled to connect their own devices to the network. While I give our current policy a silver medal, a few challenges are that BYOD, while allowed, is not clearly stated, and challenges such as legal and privacy are not mentioned in the current policy. And there is also no employee agreement for things such as device wipe. The cost accountability for the COPE program breaks down to 565 mobile devices and approximately 150 iPads, whereas we actually have 1,450 full-time employees across the globe. Voice and data costs for the 1 in 3 employees who have corporate label devices come out to $61 total per month. New device costs come out to $249 a year per device over a 2-year period, or if broken out across the company, come out to be approximately $4 per employee per month. The overall total for the COPE policy is approximately $88,000 a month. The admin costs, when broken out over an annual basis, come out to be $5.75 per employee per month, or approximately $100,000 a year. The total sum of all of these costs is approximately $71 per employee per month. When we take into consideration that the average plan with AT&T or Verizon is approximately $85 a month, yet only 1 in 3 employees have a corporate liable device, this figure of $71 a month indicates that Prologis may not be leveraging mobility to the best possible outcome for all of our employees. This diagram gives an overview of the COPE mobile policy device life cycle. This includes everything from onboarding to decommissioning and gives an overview of all the different business units involved and what their specific roles are. I'm going to walk you through step by step of the life cycle phases of the mobile device program. When it comes to onboarding, both human resources and IT are involved. Human Resources generates the initial information through Workday, and IT configures the system for the new employee. When it comes to receiving a new device, an employee must fill out a ServiceNow ticket, and that ticket must be approved by the employee's manager. This ticket then enters the procurement queue, and either IT procurement orders a new line or ports in an employee's existing number. The IT service desk then has to undergo a configuration ticket, and IT service desk sets up the email for the employee. The employee's department pays for the device cost, whereas IT pays for the monthly bill in terms of data and voice. IT provides full support for iOS devices, but only email configuration for all other ActiveSync-enabled devices. When it comes to the decommissioning process, HR, the employee's manager, and IT are all involved. HR has to fill out the appropriate paperwork. The manager must decide whether the employee gets to keep their device or not, and IT has to follow the trail to shut off the service or port the employee's number. I am now going to discuss BYOD, or Bring Your Own Device, which has been defined as the practice of allowing employees of an organization to use their own computers, smartphones, or other devices for work purposes. For the sake of this presentation, we will be focusing primarily on smartphones. The main benefits of a stipend or a reimbursement model through Bring Your Own Device, as compared to a corporate liable program, are primarily through enhanced productivity and a reduction in costs due to reduced overhead and a reduced amount of financial support for devices. As I mentioned before, stipends lead to increased productivity, flexibility, and cost savings. They can also act as an incentive. In actuality, companies that offer BYOD stipends have the highest rate of employees using mobile devices when compared to companies that require employees to cover all the BYOD costs themselves. Over 60% of the companies supporting BYOD have 20 to 40% more of their employees enabled for mobility. Interestingly, this jumps to 75% for those companies who support BYOD through a stipend program. Non-management employees spend on average of $75 a month and use 652 megabytes of data per month, while management levels spend and use considerably more. Due to this fact, corporate executives, as well as those employees who consistently engage in heavy usage and international travel, will likely stay corporate liable, approximately 75 individuals. As indicated in the chart in the previous slide, there is a key demographic of the employee population that will benefit from a BYOD program featuring stipends. Due to this benefit zone, it is recommended that stipend programs follow a tiered approach, where the top tier remains corporate liable. The benefit zone employees will be provided with a stipend in order to facilitate enhanced productivity, flexibility, and collaboration. This chart also indicates that some employees may receive no benefit from a BYOD program. As such, it is suggested that you enable these employees for BYOD, but do not provide them with a stipend. Thus, the question becomes, how do we best serve the benefit zone in terms of outfitting them with the appropriate tools they need to do their jobs while keeping an eye on cost savings? There are two options when it comes to segmenting users. Option one is that of a tiered stipend model, which separates employees based on their role, title, and location. Under this model, Tier 1 will consist of corporate executives and will continue to be fully funded under the corporate liable policy, whereas Tier 2 employees will receive a $75 stipend, Tier 3 employees a $50 stipend, Tier 4 employees will receive $25, and as indicated by the benefit zone model, Tier 5 employees will receive zero financial support. When configured, the total cost to the organization, or TCO, for all 1,450 full-time employees comes down to $34.54 per month. The second option consists of packaging users based on their projected business-related voice and data usage. So for an example, an employee who places lots of calls from their cell phone on the road may need up to 800 minutes, whereas another employee may require a heavier amount of data. Thus, it is up to the manager to decide what is the best option for each employee. For example, a basic data and voice package consisting of 400 minutes and 1 gigabyte of data totals $40. If we use the tiered stipend model to predict costs, where Tier 1 is fully funded, Tier 2 employees receive $85, Tier 3 $65, Tier 4 $40, and Tier 5 $15, the total cost for all 1,450 full-time employees is approximately $48 per employee per month. The one-time enrollment allowance model would feature a one-time enrollment form where a new employee, and eventually all employees, will receive a notification through Workday during the onboarding process to fill out an allowance application whereby an employee's manager will decide whether or not the employee has job-related need for their personal device. Employees will also receive step-by-step guidance in terms of how to configure email and calendar information on their personal devices. The one drawback of this option is that extraordinary expenses will be subject to reimbursement through the accounting department, which could provide a small amount of additional work. However, through this model, the device lifecycle will be more closely aligned with the onboarding and offboarding process through human resources. As you can see in the onboarding and procurement workflow, each step in the allowance enrollment process is aligned with an activity through HR. It begins with HR configuring an employee's information into Workday. Then an employee's manager and HR prepare for employee's arrival. The employee can apply for the allowance, and if the manager approves the application, the employee is able to start receiving their tax-free stipend on their monthly paycheck. Even if an employee does not receive a stipend, all employees will receive information regarding the new policy, instructions on how to connect their device to the Prologis network. By entering into an agreement with a service provider such as CAS Information Systems or Vox Choice, the enrollment, reimbursement, and procurement processes can all be streamlined, with such benefits as configuring allowances to preset business rules, practices, and procedures. The stipend approval process will be less taxing on the HR and IT departments and will require less input from individual managers. Using asset management and reporting tools, these managed mobility service providers can ensure that Prologis adheres to the negotiated carrier contract in order to manage costs, and also entails integration and monitoring technology. Another attractive feature these solutions provide are cost allocation management tools, which enable automatic financial reconciliation, avoiding the headaches of the reimbursement process. Using a service provider helps to shift much of the responsibility for the mobility program outside of Prologis. However, employees and managers are more central to the process and will still require input from IT and HR. While the cost for data and voice will still be placed on IT, This option reduces administrative overhead and costs approximately $5 to $6 per device. When we look at the financial profile for the various mobility policies, the first column on the left outlines Prologis' current policy, where the monthly cost to the organization is approximately $89,000 for about 600 users, plus $8,000 monthly in administrative costs, reaches to a total of approximately $97,000 per month. The bronze level BYOD is more cost-effective, with approximately $58,000 in voice and data costs, plus $4,000 monthly in administrative costs. The benefit of this model come in the form of enhanced productivity and a reduction of hardware costs for the devices themselves. One Cisco study indicated that, on average, BYOD users save 37 minutes per week by using their own devices. The breakdown of 37 minutes of recaptured productivity each week means only 7 extra minutes each workday spent working. At the average hourly rate of Prologis full-time, non-executive level employees, the cost savings to Prologis in the form of enhanced productivity comes to approximately $8,800 per month. The hardware costs save approximately $5,000 per month. The overall total cost to the organization for this option comes to approximately $53,000 per month. The addition of a mobility management service provider will add about $8,000 per month, leading to a total cost to the organization for the gold level BYOD of approximately $60,000 per month. The implementation timeline starts with designing a new acceptable use policy, then selects a pilot group, then moves to developing an internal PR campaign, eventually expanding the program to encompass all new users, and eventually migrating all users to BYOD. For more information on this, please refer to the timeline for implementation of the Prologis BYOD allowance program. Thank you.